an overflow of our relationship with God, because that river is a river of life. That river is flowing out of heaven. That river is flowing in us and through us and around us. And whatever we have in that life, in that relationship with God, is going to flow around us and through us. And we just have to be a willing channel. We just have to make sure there's nothing blocking, hindering. And the closer we get to God, the easier it is for that to flow. And the flow brings life wherever it goes. If you go back to, the whole passage in Ezekiel where it talks about the river flowing under the temple door out of the east gate, and it was ankle deep and knee deep and waist deep, and till it was flowing and out of our depths in it, completely submerged in it, but it brought life wherever it went. And that's a description of us, because we are the temple of the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
We have life in us. We just have to make sure there's nothing stopping the flow. Just let it flow. But of course, we've had all sorts of things that have been blockages to the flow of that in us. And of course, that's what God's love is there to remove all those blockages and hindrances and everything else of our experiencing it and our being able to see it released. And ultimately, rivers of living water flow from our innermost being, and the union that we have, the spirit, soul, body, enables that flow. And if we're divided and separated within ourselves, and if we're broken and fragmented, it's hard for it to flow. It just gets dammed up within us. But the more whole and the more healing there is, the flow just sort of naturally comes from our innermost being. There's nothing wrong in expressing our emotions. God's given those emotions to help us feel love and to express love, and therefore we should feel, in a sense, things. When we feel the Father's heart, then that is an emotional response. He was moved with compassion. God's love is very real and practical and emotional. We don't need to be afraid or ashamed of expressing emotion, feeling emotion, doing things because we're moved by those emotions. That's how God moves our hearts, to feel his heart.
Yes.
And that ultimately we don't want to be doing things out of logic and reason purely. It's love that motivates us, and love is an emotional, expressive way of releasing that to other people. So absolutely, being moved and emotional is part of feeling the heart of God and knowing the love that God carries and feels for all of us. God is relational.
Yes.
He's Father, Son, Spirit, in union, in oneness, in relationship. And he wants us to be like him, included in him in that relationship, as well as then being in relationship with all our brothers and sisters and others who, God has made for relationship. The whole universe is a relational being, a place where all of us can engage. And obviously, the opposite of that robs, kills, and destroys relationship, breaks it, looks to damage it, and our relationship with creation itself. God made the universe for us to have a relationship with it. And we've disconnected from that relationship, and God is looking to bring us back into relationship with creation. Creation is longing, waiting for the revealing of the sons of God, to be restored into that relationship again, so that we're in that union and oneness with God, with ourselves, with all creation, so that creation can be restored, and we've sort of lost touch with so much that God is now bringing us back and connecting us with. I remember the first time I engaged creation in a way. I was in the Father's garden. I was just completely at peace, so much at peace, I just spaghettified, and my whole being went out and touched creation. I was in wonder and awe of it, but also so sad that it was waiting for us and longing for us to come back into our sonship and relate to it again in the right way. And I felt that, and I felt it's grown, and that motivated me. It's sort of drawn me towards reconnecting to creation. But before I can reconnect to creation, I have to reconnect to myself, reconnect to God, and in that union, then my connection to creation is established. And you know, when I felt it, and I felt it quite a number of times since in similar experiences, each has been deeper, and I've realized just how important sonship is for the restoration of all things and for creation itself to be set free from its bondage to decay and corruption into the freedom of the glory of the children of God, into our glory, into our essence of who we are. Our identity and creation are totally linked. You know, even figuratively, man was made from the dust of the ground, from the earth, you know, because that's a symbol of a created thing, creation itself, that we're connected to intimately with. And God is so much wanting us to rediscover, and creation itself is just waiting and longing for us to come back into our full identity and to fully understand ourselves again, and to know ourselves, and to know that role we have within creation. And it is a relationship. You can't long for something unless you're sentient. There's something that is longing that we can be drawn to and reconnect with and re-engage with. But it is all relational. You know, it's all a relationship. We tend to think of things as inanimate, or, you know, but actually, no, God has created all things to have relationship. Yeah. If you enjoy these videos, would you please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe? It really does help. Thank you very much.